Stop on the brake, step on the gas, leave the brake and the gas same time. Bear's ready. Jesus.
The Model S changed everything. It's the beginning of the modern day EV story, but it's not exactly a luxury vehicle, it's more luxury adjacent. But what if the head engineer of the Model S decided to build another EV, and one that takes aim at German luxury? From that idea, the Lucid Air was born, built by a company populated by former Tesla engineers and of course people from other automakers. It's run by Peter Rawlinson, the man who, well, made the Model S actually work. Now the vehicle next to me isn't just any Lucid Air, it's the $169,000 Dream Edition. This is the launch edition, and if you want one, well, I'm sorry to say that it's already sold out. And this isn't just any Dream Edition, it's the Performance Edition with 1,111 horsepower, so yeah, it's fast. Let's take a few moments to talk about this. An all-wheel drive EV with 1,111 horsepower and 1,025 pound-feet of torque is insane. It's far more than the average person needs. I mean, it does 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds and has a top speed of 168 miles an hour. I can't test that without access to a track, and even then, why would I? Who's going to go that fast in this thing? I will say that having all this power in reserve is a bit intoxicating. For example, I'm on the freeway and let's say I need to pass somebody or I need to catch up to that Ferrari. I'm still in smooth mode. I'm still in the lowest mode, but I can still do this. I mean, right? All that power does come at the expense of range. Now there is a range version of the Dream Edition and it has 520 miles of range, but it only has 933 horsepower. I'm just kidding, that's still a lot of horsepower. This vehicle, the Performance, 471 miles of range. So that's more, well, that's more than Tesla, which has been the king of range for a decade now. Well, not anymore. To be fair, this does have a larger battery, topping off at 118 kilowatt hours versus Tesla's 100 kilowatt hours. Now this vehicle has the larger 21-inch wheels, which reduces some of that range down to a paltry 451 miles, which is still, you know, that's a lot. During my range test with this vehicle, where I was driving 70 miles an hour on the freeway using cruise control, and then I did a lot of backroads driving, a lot of driving in the suburbs, I got a little bit north of 400 miles, which is still 400 miles. That's without any sort of hypermiling or anything. 400 miles. Making sure the vehicle charges quickly, Lucid used a 900 volt architecture that supports DC fast charging up to 300 kilowatts at supported stations. On the home charging front, it supports AC charging up to 19.2 kilowatts, which is more than, well, most home chargers can output. It also has bi-directional charging, which means that the power that's in the vehicle can actually be sent back out to, say, the grid or to your home, which is great because if you live in a place, let's say like California, where we're always having blackouts because of fires, you could use the Lucid to keep your lights on. Other than, well, going really fast and potentially keeping the lights on during a blackout, the Lucid Air is just a very nice luxury car. It's EV or not EV, it's comfortable, it's fun to drive, it's smooth on the road, the steering is tight but not twitchy, it's forgiving. It's just nice and smooth, which is exactly what you want to be delivering to customers looking for a luxury vehicle. The vehicle has 3 available drive modes. It has Smooth, Swift, and Sprint. Now in Smooth and Swift, you have up to 804 horsepower. If you want all of that 1,111 horsepower though, you're gonna have to put it into Sprint and then use the launch mode.
Right, so we're gonna try launch mode. We're in the middle of nowhere. We have it set on Sprint. Shove the thing down. There's the bear, launch mode is activated. Here we go. Oh, God. Yeah, launch mode is no joke.
Those drive modes do change the suspension ever so slightly, but I do suspect that most people that drive this vehicle are looking for a luxury vehicle will keep it in smooth 90% of the time when they're not trying to impress their friends with 1,111 horsepower. Design-wise, it looks fantastic. It conveys a sort of futuristic feeling while also being classy, which is something that's very tough to do. It also has a very comfortable rear seat. I'm actually sitting behind me. I'm 6'3". I got lots of leg room. The seats tilt back, so I have lots of headroom, lots of shoulder room. And this door opens to 90 degrees, so it's easier to get in and out of the car. Inside, this is where Lucid hopes to set itself apart from Tesla, and it does. The materials are top-notch, the layout is luxurious but minimal. It's more Volvo than Mercedes. There are physical buttons though. There are buttons for the temperature, to control the fan, to control the volume, of course to shift gears, and the ability to turn on and off the windshield wipers when you have some stuff on the windshield. The rest of the controls are stored in this 34-inch 5K display. Well, it's actually 3 displays, plus this additional display down here. So you have 1, 2, 3 touchscreens and 1 dash cluster. You have to remember this is a new car company with their very first new car. In fact, this isn't even a production car, this is a pre-production car. The production cars, those are all going to customers, because if you're making a car and you're a new car company, you need to make sure your customers get their vehicles. But there are some quirks of having a pre-production car. For example, this cover for the trunk, it's kind of flimsy. The one that the customers got is much nicer. The hardware for the infotainment system, well, the hardware has been upgraded for customers, and so it'll have less latency than what I'm experiencing now. What I do like about the infotainment system is this cool feature where you can sort of swipe down from the top screen down to the bottom. For example, if I'm using navigation, I can swipe down, and while I have turn-by-turn navigation up here, I have the entire route down here. If I'm listening to music, I can have the player here, swipe down, and then have the playlist down here. But it only works with one application at a time. I can't have media up here and navigation down here, which is sort of a bummer. What's also cool is that this bottom display, it's called the pilot panel, will retract into the dashboard, revealing this little cubby hole that you can put a bag of burritos in, or maybe a large purse that's filled with burritos. And while you're driving to those burritos, Lucid notes that in the future, the vehicle will have level 3 capability. That's when, in certain scenarios, a car can drive itself without the person paying attention to the road, but that driver has to be able to take over when needed. Currently, it has level 2 driver's assistance, which, well, it has adaptive cruise control. And it's pretty much on par with everything else that's on the road right now. It's not overly aggressive in its acceleration when someone pulls away. It's not overly aggressive with braking when someone cuts in front of you. Although I will say that there was one instance where I was stuck in stop-and-go traffic, and the car was stopping at a nice pace, and all of a sudden it just stopped, which was probably a little bit quicker than the person behind me would have liked. All that said, there is one issue that I wish that they would update soon, and that is when you are in heavy traffic and you come to a complete stop, when the car in front of you pulls away, the Lucid does not automatically follow. You have to tap the accelerator or tap resume, which is really, that's not very luxury. I do like the dash cluster because it's very minimalistic. It's essentially just the speed and your trip. That's kind of it. Even when you put on adaptive cruise control, it just says adaptive cruise across the top, and it tells you your speed, and it has a little line, it shows a little picture of the car in front of you, and that's pretty much it. I don't like really cluttered dash clusters because it's too much information. All you want to do is look down, see the information you really need, and look up and continue to drive. And in that instance, they've done a really great job. Another feature that I like, and it's weird that I'm saying this, but Hyundai also has it, is that when you put the blinkers on, the camera that's stationed onto the side mirrors, it'll show you your blind spot here in the dash. So if I want to get back in the right lane, I put it on. Oh, look at that, there's no one in my way. I can move over, everything's peachy. One thing that is, well, I'm on the fence about whether or not I like it, is that the controls over here on the left, they're all touchscreen. The lights, your windshield wipers, locking the doors, unlocking the doors, and of course the defrosters. Again, whenever you're dealing with touch screens, there's nothing tangible to to hold on to, like these buttons here. So when you hit a bump, your finger does this. If you are concerned about the price, there are far less expensive Lucid Airs on the horizon. For example, the Air Pure, which starts at $77,400 and has 406 miles of range. If you still want all the fancy bits and impressive range, there is the Air Grand Touring, which starts at $139,000 and has 516 miles of range. Regardless, Lucid has accomplished what it set out to do, build a luxury EV that competes with German automakers. But some of those automakers are already building their own luxury EVs like the EQS. So if you're looking for a luxury EV that actually has elements of luxury, you can check out the other automotive startup in California in addition to checking out the Germans. For more automotive coverage next to a big giant green valley, be sure to subscribe to Engadget.